Do you ever have that voice in the back of your mind that always tells you to stop doing things? That always says, don't try that. Don't act on it when it says you're not good enough to try. Don't bother trying because you'll never succeed. But actually, listen to it when there's a car speeding past you and you want to cross the road. You have a choice whether to listen to it or not. It's not you. And by realizing it's not you, you can start to live in a way which means that you're not dictated to by this voice. You're not always appeasing it. You're not always fighting it. You could live in a way that's free. And as I said, it's not about demonizing that voice, because that voice has done a really, really good job at protecting you for so long. Say, thank you, voice. Thank you for helping me, but just back off a little bit. Just let me grow. Let me experience the world the way that I want to. It's not always going to end in danger. It's not always going to end in me failing. And sometimes I will fail, but by failing, I'm going to grow. I'm going to learn what not to do in the future. So next, let's try and understand it. Let's try and look back and see those specific examples of actually when that voice was elicited onto us. Was it your mother? Was it your father? Who was it? What was the situation? What were they saving you from? How did that voice, when you were growing up, figure in your life? Because, as I said, that voice is established from when we were children, and we grow with it, and we adapt it ourselves. And it may have started with, don't ride your bike down that hill so fast. It may have started with, be careful of that fire, you don't want to get burned. But that voice took on a life of its own. You were able to exhibit that voice. You were able to protect yourself in certain ways. So by looking back and seeing where that voice came from, we can start to understand, what was it trying to save me from? Next is exercise. An exercise which has helped many of my clients. As I mentioned before, many of us see us so intertwined with this voice that we can't see ourselves away from it. By seeing that voice, by seeing that point of view as separate from ourselves, we can start to look at it. We can start to understand it. So maybe the next exercise, an exercise which I've seen help many of my clients, is to get that voice and to look at it. And when I say look at it, obviously you're not going to see it. But what you could do is you could draw it. You could see how you relate to that voice. You could draw a picture. If you don't like pictures, you could write something. If you don't like writing, you could look in a magazine and pick out a picture that someone else has drawn. You could look on the internet. If you don't want to do any of that, come up with your own way. Come up with your own way of looking at that voice and seeing what it looks like. Seeing how you relate to it. Maybe it's got sharp edges. Maybe it's red like fire. It could look like anything. And that way you connect to that shows a lot about how you connect to yourself. And the way you see that voice, the way that perception of it is, shows the power it's got over you. If it's got jagged lines, it could mean that it has to protect itself. It has to protect you, so it needs to be imposing. It needs to be sharp because you don't want to go near it. Because if you go near it, you're going to get hurt. You're going to get stabbed. You're going to get burnt. So we've got this picture of this voice. We've got, we can see it. We've conceptualized it in a way, the way that we feel able to, a way that we feel able to connect to. Because that image is living with us. So why don't we try and redesign it? Why don't we try and see it in a different light? Rather than a jagged, imposing figure, we could see it as a friendly figure, a friendly round figure that's protecting you, that's helping you. Rather than it being imposing, it could be embracing. It's a different way of viewing a part of you that has taken up so much of your life, that's dictated so much of who you are and how you act it. Let's change it. Let it help you rather than hinder you. Let it push you forward rather than trying to drag you back. This theme of a voice stopping you in your life is a theme that many of us contend with on a daily basis, that many of us have contended with the whole of our lives. If we can master this, if we can use that voice in order to help us, protecting us, sure, but also pushing us forward, also trying new things. I hope you've enjoyed the video. Please do leave any comments down below if you've got any questions. Send me an email, by all means. I look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.